What's happening, party people? Welcome back to another episode of Pasty-T Garage. Today we're working on a new car, 1997 Mazda Miata, NA by chassis number, turbo by aspiration level. So this is an NA Miata 1997. I bought it used about 3 weeks ago. I'm finally able to sit down and go over some of the intricacies of this car. Main thing that I was focused on are the seating position. I'll get to that in a second. Just wanted to kind of give an overview of the engine. As you can tell, it's turbo kit. It's actually a Kraken turbo kit, and I didn't know anything about the company. Looked it up. It's actually a pretty respectable build. I'm pretty happy with the performance of this. It drives like a bat out of hell. Like you'll have maybe seen in the video, and I'll link that as well. The video where I'm driving the crap out of it. But yeah, so 97 Miata. I had a 2003 before this. I love that car. Had to get rid of it for personal reasons. Basically, I just didn't want to drive a manual through traffic. It was my only vehicle, really, and so I didn't like that. But as fortune happens, I was able to get myself another Miata. This one's a little bit more hopped up than the previous one that I had, but yeah, not at all upset with that. So the main thing we're going to focus on today, these seats. So when I bought the car, I bought it in San Antonio, which from me is about 250 miles away. And I immediately drove it to Austin, which is about 70 miles. And then we drove it from Austin back to Houston, which is about another 230 miles ish. And this seat was very, very uncomfortable. Not because the seat itself was uncomfortable. As you can see, it's an aluminum seat. The the padding, it's an Ultra Shield product. It's got this little lumbar support, which is pretty nice. Not too bad once you get in it, but the driving position that I was in was not comfortable at all. The previous owner was about, I don't know, 5'8", and I'm 6'1" with shoes, whatever. And I have pretty long legs. So my seating position in this vehicle was not very comfortable. Basically, as I sat in, my leg had this like really weird angle to it, and it was giving me like a Charlie horse the whole time. So no cruise control. Um, so basically, highway driving, partial throttle on a highway when your foot's just at a steady angle. Very, very uncomfortable. I had to stop about every hour stretch, go for a walk. So yeah, the drive home took a lot longer than it should. So what I found is the previous owner bought it fully modded like this. The guy before him was the one that did the modifications. And I feel like he did a pretty good job setting it up for autocross. I think that was the intent. As you can see, it's got a pretty sturdy hard dog roll bar, suited specifically for a hardtop. The hardtop's off the car. You can see it over here on the hardtop stand, which is a pretty nice little PVC, um, like do-it-yourself hardtop stand. Super impressed with it. When it comes apart, you basically pull this piece off. There's a similar size tube on the bottom. Comes off really easily. So the first thing that I really wanted to do before I started digging into the goodie bits of this car was get the seating position fixed. And in order for me to do that, I had to take the seat out, tear it apart because I have no idea how these seats work. This is my first time dealing with Ultra Shield, and so I didn't know how it mounted. As you can tell, you've got 4 bolt holes here, and those are how it mounts to what looks like stock rails. It's got the adjuster, and what I found was I just couldn't adjust it back far enough. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Super light seat, as you can see. Easily pull it out with one hand. We're going to set it down on its own. Now, these are what I assume are stock rails. As you can see, it says NA01, which is the chassis number or the chassis style. And it looks like, I can't tell if these are factory nuts where the seat bolts would go through. I mean, this is some pretty bad welding, so I would hope that this isn't what Mazda produces. I mean, it looks strong, it's just not pretty. Now, this would be like if I tried to weld, because let's be honest, I'm not a welder. And if I did weld, it would probably look like this or worse. So I'm not trying to like, you know, talk crap about someone's, job, but to me, this doesn't look factory. If it's factory, let me know. Maybe this is just how Mazda did it back in the day. I mean, it looks strong. It's definitely not giving me any suspicion that it's going to break. So I'm not worried about that. But what I did notice was, I'm going to turn this one over to give you all kind of a visual aid. Turn this one over too. So this is where the seat track adjusts. You pull on this lever, and what it does is it opens up that mouth, you can see right there. And basically, as you pull the seat forward and back, these little teeth start clicking in these spots. So the further this goes this way, your seat is moving forward. The further this goes this way, the seat's moving back. So I did a little bit of trial and error to see what would be a comfortable seating position for me. And there's these 5 slots here before the teeth start engaging. That to me on both sides, as you can see, this side has a similar thing. That seemed to be a pretty comfortable position for me to sit. Now I have to go drive it just to make sure, but I kind of wanted to give you all a heads up of how I came across the problem and then what I'm trying to do for the solution. Now, because the seat bolts directly down, um, I think what I'm able to do is, so here's where the bolts go through. This is the hardware that connects to the floor. None of these were stripped, which is really nice. They came in and out really easily. So I'm thinking I'm going to fish these through, tighten those up with a wrench. That way I can retain this seating adjustment. Because once it goes in, I'm really not going to need to pull them back out. And as I found out, the cover for this seat snaps in. You can see these little snaps here. There's 3 on each side, and there's 3 on the front. And then the whole cover pulls off. So, and then you can get to the bolts. So really not that hard if you needed to assemble it in pieces. I'm actually pretty impressed with that. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and reinstall these seat rails and then reinstall the seat and go for a drive and make sure that the position is more comfortable for me because if I'm going to be driving this thing, I want to make sure it's comfortable so that if I need to make an emergency maneuver, I can do it without causing any trouble. But so yeah, we're going to go ahead and reinstall that. We're going to get the seat installed. The other thing that I noticed was the passenger side. It's so it's got the same little adjustment so that you can slide back and forth. That one doesn't work. What I found was the driver's side. I mean, this is a 97, right? So it's a 27-year-old car. And this, there's the rollers on the inside on each of these tracks, and those rollers basically will help slide the entire seat back and forth. Those things seem pretty gummed up. These were very difficult to adjust. You got to use a lot of force and leverage to get them to move. So what I may do in the future is if I decide that I do want to have more adjustment as I'm driving the car, I'll buy some aftermarket seat rails. I've seen a few that you can get, and I may be interested in purchasing those. But the main thing that I was curious about was, can I get this seating position comfortable so that I can drive the car with these seats? Because that was the first thing that I wanted to figure out. Longer drives in like 20 or 30 minutes just get really, really uncomfortable. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and reinstall that, and then we'll go for a drive. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna try to push these bolts in, get them tightened in while the rail is in the position I'd like it to be in. I'm hoping I can start this by hand and then just get them all the way tightened down, because these bolts on top is where the seat actually fits in. So all right, looks like I have it semi-started. That's how it started by hand. Good. All right, that's how it started by hand. I'll just get the front two. This might be a problem. Getting the wrench in there may be difficult. I can get the open end. It does need to be tight, but it doesn't need to be impact tight. Typically, you cannot install a seat after the rail is installed. It has to go in as a unit. But since these install over, then it's fine either way. So that side's in. This side, I could probably do the same thing. Open part of the wrench. Yeah. Okay, R4 are hand tight. I'm gonna crank them down. Apologize if the microphone is picking up all of this banging around that I'm doing, but okay. All right. That is all tight. So now we're going to lay the seat on top. We'll tighten those bolts all the way down, making sure that there's no interference with anything. This one may be a problem. So I talked about the rollers. Let me grab the camera. So it's probably not easy to tell, but in this bolt, what it looks like is it might sit right on top of a roller, so I might have to get some more washers to get that tight. This one doesn't look like it has the same problem, and then these back here are clear, so we're going to go ahead and try to install it. Like I said, if I have to get some more washers, that's not a big deal. But this is the one I'm most worried about. I can even get it started. There we go. Now, because the seat's contacting the roll bar, I might have to move it one more step forward. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So it's contacting right here. If I moved it one more forward, that's probably going to be okay. But I'd like to see if I can get it at this position first. Okay. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to sit down and just make sure that it is comfortable. It does seem a bit further back. So I think we're good. I think we're just ready to get everything back. So here's the steering wheel. I feel like I am further back. It might be good to go. That is as far back as it'll let me go. That sat in there. This sat on top. Now, fishing this around may be a little difficult because of how tight. There we go. Okay. Goes around that way. Snaps into place. 3 spots. The sides. 3 spots in the front. So we have the Submariner position. Fish that through. All right. Fish the sides through. Get those back routed. There it is. It's like, where's the front? There. Okay. All right, everything's clipped in. This is as back as far as it will go. Let me get the front seat belts through. Yeah, that's reinstalled. That was not the easiest thing in the world. So now basically I just need to move my tools and go for a test drive. So yeah, a lot of stuff is edited out of this video because of either noise or just not content. But that's how you uninstall a Ultra Shield DIY previous owner going crazy seat in a 1997 Miata. So in the future, what I'm going to do is uninstall the passenger seat. Like I said, the adjustment isn't working, so I want to take that apart and see what's going on. It may just be that the rollers are stuck. It may just be that it's not hooked up correctly. But we're gonna test it out next time. I'm gonna go for a drive. I'm gonna make sure that this seating position is good. 2 things I could do if it's not good is I could get better seat rails that allow for better adjustment, or B, I can get a new seat that has a different angle of pitch that sits on the back. Because as you can see, it's contacting here. It's about to contact here. So this is basically as far back as I can push it. And for me, I needed more legroom because it was not comfortable to drive. So that's pretty much it. So hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're new to this channel and you want to continue on this journey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are already subscribed, that's awesome. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Leave a comment below. See what else you want to see on this. I'm gonna do a full walkthrough on this car. I owe y'all a full walkthrough on the Skyline. So yeah, I look forward to those videos coming up. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me today. So we will see you in the next video.